an hour, 40 minutes after we got that initial fire put out, here come all the black clouds and stuff, and here come another big thunderstorm. So I told, I think this guy's name was Brett, and I said, listen, Brett, we got to get into those rocks here. The lightning's going to get us. He says, yeah, you're right, Les. So come on. And so we had that other fire already contained. It wasn't too big a one, just a two-man little fire. And we get underneath the rocks, and here comes the lightning. And he's over a little ways away from me, and I'm over there sitting underneath, and we're looking at each other like that, you know. Well, then the storm went by like those upper storms do. It was only lasted about a half an hour, 40 minutes at the most. And after it went by, we had 11 fires to put out. 11. Not just one or two. Or
you had strikes hitting all around you.
Yeah. It was going right by us. And so, yeah, pretty scary. Well, nothing you could do. And we were okay under the rocks, but if we hadn't got under there, we'd have got killed because we'd have been out there and it would have got us. See, but so we put out 11 fires, and that took some more time-wise. And then my tongue kept getting worse as time went on, and it started swelling up, and I was getting infection. And the thing that really helped me out was, believe it or not, was pineapple juice that was in one of the fire packs. And I think I drank 2 of those cans over a period of 2 or 3 days. We had to stay there and put all those other fires out. Yeah. They didn't know where we're at. They wondered what's going on, and they flew over in a reconnaissance plane looking around. They found us over there, and we're waving, okay, everything's fine, go ahead. And then we finally got out of there. And the guy that had marked on the map for us to walk out got off a whole valley and a couple ridges. And we finally got out of there. And the funny part about the whole thing was, and then I'll tell you the rest of it, I'll go down a little further in time. The funny part about it was, and my tongue was doing worse all the time. So we get over, finally find a trail to go on. Before there was no trails at all. And we kept going in a beeline up and way down in another valley and down, and oh, it's got to be over, yeah, okay, there it is, all right. So we go on the trail. We just get to the big fir tree with the phone on it, which was an old phone you crank on, okay? And that was crazy too, because this Brett, I just sit down by the base of the tree underneath, he's up there cranking on the phone, and we get, let's see, what was the name of that ranger station? It's way back in Idaho in the Selway Bitterroot Wilderness area. Anyway, he gets them on the big crank phone, and the wire was as big around as a little finger. And he's got this phone thing, and it's hooked on the tree, the big phone sticking out like that. And the guy was a smart aleck on answering the phone because they knew we were going to come out of there, okay? And he says, "This is Murphy's Corner." I could hear it, see. So I hollered up at Brett and I said, "You tell Murphy's Corner that we want a steak dinner and get up here and get us in the truck." So he did. And then it got dark then, okay? And here they come. And believe it or not, they sent somebody to go get steaks, and we had steaks that night and stuff, And we finally got out of there, and we got back to Missoula. My tongue was really not doing good. I could hardly talk. It was all swollen up and everything. So I ended up in the Missoula hospital, and I go see the doctor and the nurse. And, oh my God, the doctor, he's looking at me, he said, "What the heck, happened to you?" I told him what happened and so on. Then, this is the funny part of the story, and I'll stop on that one entirely. He said, "Well, we're going to have to put some stitches in that." Well, and he couldn't deaden it, but he had the nurse with those crooked prongs. She was holding on to my tongue. I'm sitting up on the bench there where they do the little sit-up operation stuff, and got my mouth wide open going, ah, like that. And she's pulling out on there, and he's got this little gun in his hand. I didn't realize what it was. I knew it was to do the stitches, but I didn't realize this was going to happen. And then he says to me, "This is going to hurt a little bit."
Jeez.
I already knew that. And so, right after that, and the nurse is hanging on my tongue, and the catgut's hanging down. That's when they used catgut. They didn't have all this fancy stuff naughty. And she's pulling out on my tongue, and then he pulls the trigger on this insertion of the stitch, and that gun goes, and it shoots a stitch in my tongue. Well, it hurt, and I jumped right off of the table, And the only thing I could think of was do something, so I grabbed their wastebasket that was sitting right down below there. I grabbed that and I picked it up and I squished it flat right against my chest. And the doctor and the nurse ran over 10 feet away by the door and were looking at me. And I'm going, like this. And,
Oh, I bet that hurt.
so, and then actually, and then he says, now we got 2 more to go. And the tears were running down like, so.
So did you have any problems with any aircraft or any aircraft accidents or see any or be involved in any?
In the jumping stuff?
In the jumping part, yeah.
Well, yeah, we had, I ended up with the wrong parachute one. They gave me a 32-foot chute one time, bailed out up here by Wolf Creek Canyon someplace, and I didn't even land in the right canyon. I went up, I was higher in the airplane. But other than that, most of the planes that we flew in, it was pretty spooky, where we'd go and fly and land and where we'd bail out and when they'd come and get us.
Yeah.
But as far as like, well, being tricky and all of that stuff, we just did things that they wouldn't do nowadays at all. That's.
So you were involved in that movie that they made, weren't you? The Red Skies over
yes,
Montana?
Yeah, Red Skies over Montana, yes. And the movie people came to Missoula, and Whitmore was the actor, and I can't remember the lady's name, but us guys that were picked to go and jump for them, that was exciting because, well, the first thing, not the first thing, but one of the things, that we were at the base, there, and they were doing the movie stuff. They were shooting movies every day there for a period of time. And so we asked Earl Cooley one day, this is pretty neat, we like this, Now, are we going to get paid extras for this? And Earl Cooley says, no. He said a word before that, and, da-da-da. And so then, another thing we liked about it was the pretty girls they had in the movie.
Uh-huh.
We're going around there almost running into walls looking at the girls and stuff. But we bailed out for them. I think I bailed out 8 times for them during the making of that movie. And then when we went to see the night flick, every night they'd show that part of the movie of us jumping and stuff. And then they'd say, okay, that's good. We don't have to do that again tomorrow.
Okay.
And so that worked out good. And then I noticed that you couldn't tell who was who jumping out of the plane. They'd be shooting, the movie guy'd be right here and you'd be jumping out right there. And you'd be gone, out you'd go. And so I put a blue cross on my helmet. I thought, I'm going to figure out who I am when I do that again. And I got some duct tape stuff, whatever it was, about that long, and I made in the movie then, and I don't know if they cut all that out or whatever. I haven't seen the movie for years and years, but I bailed out that one time and I saw that, and I said, there I went. That was fun. But otherwise, yeah, we flew. I guess maybe the biggest turmoil we had as far as was when we had to fly back with Willie and the 4th supervisor and the pilot from Moose Creek to come back to Missoula. They put us all in the same DC-3. And we had Willie all dead right there.
Who was Willie?
Willie was one of the jumpers that got killed when they hit the trees.
Oh, down at the Moose Creek landing strip?
Yes.
So were you involved in that in any way?
Yes, I was, yeah.
What happened there?
Well, they came in there and they weren't supposed to land there after 10:30 in the morning time. And we flew over there and we couldn't find the fire going over there. So some other guys and myself, we bailed out up on Pettibone Ridge, and then they went back around there and they came in to land.
So you were in the aircraft before it crashed?
Yeah, but we bailed out before that, and then we came back the next day. Yeah, the next day we came back. We got the fire out up on Pettibone Ridge. So we came down there, and there was the plane and everything down there all had already crashed. But Willie, he got killed right there on the spot, burned him up. And then they sent another DC-3 in there to get us. There was a tri-motor that crashed. And they sent a DC-3 in there, and they came in the next day then, and in the afternoon time we waited till evening time, and then we headed back to Missoula. Well, we had to pick up Willie in the sleeping bag. We had him in a sleeping bag there, and we put him in there and carried him over there. And the fourth supervisor and the pilot were with us also, all of them, okay? And they were burned pretty bad. In fact, I don't remember which one was either the supervisor died 6 days later or the pilot, one of the two. And 6 days, and the other one was 6 weeks. Something, it wasn't very long.
So all three died? I mean, you had Willie and then the other two died?
Yeah, Willie got killed right there, and then the pilot 6 days, and then 6 weeks or something there about the supervisor. They're from their burns.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had them all sitting right here. We're taking care of them.
Yeah.
Including Willie. He's dead. So then we take off out of Moose Creek. We make it out of there, and we go back to Missoula. We land there, and they put the ramp down and stuff. And guess who was the first one to come up the ramp into the plane?
Mm-hmm.
Earl Cooley, the boss.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at the sleeping bag, and he said, "Who's in there?" And we told him. And there was the fourth supervisor there too, and also that pilot that wasn't flying that DC-3, of course, but they were both right there. And Earl Cooley just completely went bonkers, and he walked right up to the front and he fired the pilot. Yeah. Oh,